Space Corner, galaxies are just a glimpse away.
Welcome to Space Corner, where we talk about all things space. Today we will be discussing why and how space affects astronauts' bodies. First, let's deal with the basics. Time for some formula. When we talk about gravity, we can use the basic formula F equals m times g. F is the force of gravity, m is the mass of an object, and g is gravitational acceleration. So, the force of gravity equals mass times gravitational acceleration. F also equals big G multiplied by the product of big M and little m over d squared. Big G is the gravitational constant. For our purposes, big M is the mass of the Earth, while little m is the mass of an astronaut. D is the distance from the center of the Earth to the astronaut. So, the force of gravity equals the gravitational constant multiplied by the product of the mass of the Earth and the mass of the astronaut divided by distance squared. If F equals m times little g and big G multiplied by the product of big M and little m over d squared, then m times little g equals big G multiplied by the product of big M and little m divided by d squared. Since little m is on both sides, we can cancel it from the equation. We are then left with little g equals big G multiplied by big M over d squared. This shows us that gravitational acceleration, or gravity's effects on the Earth, is dependent mostly on distance, since Earth's mass is constant. This is key. When an astronaut is orbiting in space, he is farther from the Earth, so gravitational acceleration is very small. We call this microgravity. Fun fact, the idea that there is no gravity in space is a misconception. It's just that gravity becomes weaker with distance. So how does microgravity affect astronauts? Although we don't really think about it, on Earth, we rely on gravity to push down on our bones and muscles, helping us stay strong. So, in space, less gravity means that bones become weaker and start to demineralize, while muscles atrophy or waste away. The immune system is also affected. As astronauts adapt to space's conditions, microgravity can block important pathways for leukocyte or white blood cell activation. So, the immune system becomes weaker, the distribution of leukocytes changes, and killer cells don't work as hard. The effects of these changes can last for up to a lifetime in some astronauts. That was a lot of information. I hope you didn't space out. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'm your host, Adedokun, and see you next time on
Space Corner, galaxies are just a glimpse away.